Welcome back. The Nigerian Air Force claims its fighter jets have raided Boko Haram hideouts in Sambisa Forest in 2 different strikes, killing several insurgents. The raid, according to the Air Force Director of Public Relations and Information, is in furtherance of operations to completely defeat the terrorist organization. He says a building housing the insurgents was destroyed in the process, while some members of the group were later seen evacuating the remains of dead Boko Haram fighters after the strikes. The Air Force claims it conducted a battle damage assessment which revealed that the hideout was completely reduced to rubble. "200 houses in Cmte community in Rigasa, that's a suburb of Kaduna metropolis, will still face the danger of being swept away if urgent steps are not taken to address the problem of gully erosion. The residents of the community are worried over the threat the erosion poses to their lives and property. The state government, on their part, says they have not received any support from the Ecological Fund to address the situation. Our community report looks at the problems facing the Cmte community.
9 Mobile. Here for you. Here for Naija.
This is Cmte, a community in Rigasa, Igabi North local government area of Kaduna State. This community is located in the heart of Kaduna metropolis. But a major ecological disaster threatens to rob residents of the community of land, infrastructure and properties. This community has been grappling with the effects of erosion for nearly 20 years. Major roads in the area have been destroyed by erosion. Residents watch helplessly as gully erosion threatens to swallow up their homes.
This is affecting our home, especially rainy season. Most of our houses will fall down, and sometimes our sons, they used to fall down and die. Our children used to fall down, then they would die at the end.
The threat on the roads, which are now on the verge of total collapse and have become death traps, claimed the lives of 3 children during the rainy season last year. The residents want the federal and state governments to come to their aid as lives and property are endangered.
There's no, in fact, it's very hard to be moving. It always stopped the movement of vehicle, motorcycle, and even moving by the foot. It's always become difficult whenever it is raining.
Meanwhile, the spokesman for the Kaduna state government says the problem requires the intervention of the federal government through the use of the Ecological Fund or other related interventions for adequate control and management.
We have received reports and photographs, and we have also visited the site. And as a matter of urgency, the Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources are equally working on a brief to have a better or detailed understanding of the whole matter.
Mr. Arwan assures them that the state government will do all it can to confront the ecological disaster headlong. But while the Kaduna state government is mapping out solutions to the problem, the residents of Cmte live in fear that their homes and property will be consumed by the gully erosion.
9 Mobile. Here for you. Here for Naija.
The federal government has given the assurance that the December 2018 delivery date of the Lagos-Ibadan railway construction will not be changed. The Minister of Transport, Mr. Rotimi Amechi, and some members of the National Assembly revealed this during an inspection tour of the project site in Lagos. Our correspondent Temple Ashaju reports.
A few weeks ago, the National Assembly approved $1.4 billion for the construction of the Lagos-Ibadan Speed Rail project. In line with constitutional responsibilities, it's time to perform oversight function by visiting the project site. First, it's the inspection tour of the Joint Senate Committee on Land Transport, as well as that of local and foreign debt, to the Nigeria Railway Corporation complex in Ebute-Metta, Lagos. The team led by Senators Benga Ashafa and Sheikh Husani is not completely impressed with the slow pace of work.
The excuses has been that the rainy season and there is no money. Well, we have solved the first one, which every human being can do, which is the money has been provided. As for the rain, we pray, and we also tell them clearly that that should not be an excuse.
We've been given a deadline with which to report back to the Senate so that other conclusive parts of the foreign loan agreements can be sealed.
Next is the visit of the Minister of Transport, Mr. Rotimi Amechi, who held talks with the contractors, the Chinese Civil Engineering and Construction Company, as well as the railway authorities.
Like I said, like you know, every month we must meet to review the challenges that we have in the project and the achievements that they may have made. So far today, we've looked at it, they've commenced construction, and we are maintaining that 2018 December, we will start commercial services on this way.
For the Transport Minister, the delivery date of December next year is certain.
They have their money, we've paid part of the counterpart fund, and we've given them whatever is remaining, we'll pay in the next 1 week. And then our own side will be completed. They are approved in China, so when we sign the IPC, they will pay their money from the China Exim Bank. So in terms of funding, no.
These visits set in perspective the commitment of the federal government to a high level of accountability in public expenditure, a constitutional responsibility that Nigerians can only expect to yield results. Temple Ashaju, Channels Television News.
The House of Representatives Committee on Banking is engaging the management of the central bank in a retreat on foreign exchange management and economic diversification in Port Harcourt, the River State capital. The chairman of the committee, Jones Onyere, who led other members and representatives of the CBN to the government house, explains that the current challenges faced by the Naira, high interest rates and the micro, small and medium enterprises makes this meeting vital.
This meeting of members of the House of Representatives Committee on Banking and Currency, representatives of the management of Central Bank of Nigeria with the Governor of River State in Port Harcourt is to kickstart a series of brainstorming sessions on how to shore up the value of the Naira in the foreign exchange market and promote an all-inclusive growth of the economy.
We are currently experiencing very high interest rates. And I think we should set that political goal, not just for the monetary authority, which is the CBN, but also for the fiscal authority, which is the Ministry of Finance, so that together they can form a synergy. And that is why, even in our committee, we have advocated the need for setting up of a financial services commission, where the fiscal and the monetary authorities would converge, so that we can get ourselves out of this economic quagmire.
The governor believes the way out of poverty in the country is to develop the micro, small and medium enterprises.
Every economy is dependent on the SMEs. If the SMEs are not doing well, then the economy cannot be said to be doing well. So it is important, and they talk about the high interest rates is alarming. At the end of the day, who bears the burden? It is the final consumer, the poor people, who at the end of the day this thing will pass on to. And then when we're talking about eradicating poverty and risk, and you have a high rate of interest, and then it's not going to work.
For the representative of the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, there is need to understand the policies of the bank.
The essence of the retreat that we have, and the one that we're having today, is for us to facilitate the oversight function by telling them why we do things the way we do it, and eliciting also their comment on best ways for them to do their work.
The retreat is expected to deliver an effective working paper that will enhance policy framework for economic development. Emmanuel Irei, Channels Television News.
Well, let's join Melinda Kalami for the business stories today.
You first. First Bank.
Many thanks, Millicent. Welcome to Business News. Latest data released by the central bank shows that Nigeria's foreign exchange reserves rose to more than a two-year high at $31.22 billion as at August the 8th. The reserves stood at $26.09 billion at the start of the year, but have risen 17.24%, partly due to an increase in Nigeria's crude oil production, the price of crude, and offshore investment inflows into the financial markets. The country's dollar reserves climbed back to the level they reached in July 2015, but are far off a peak of $64 billion achieved in August 2008. The stock market's main index hit a new level today on continued bullish sentiments ahead of corporate earning results from some banks. Emana Amawe tells us more.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. Nigeria's stock exchange is now the world's best performing equities market for 2017, following the recent consecutive gain streak that lifted the main index and the capitalization to new highs in a short tenor. Wednesday's trading session saw the seventh successive gain in less than 2 weeks as the all-share index hit the 38,000 level and the total value increased to 13.14 trillion naira. Consumer goods stocks clinched the top position for a second time this week, while the sector posted the most significant gain on the counter. Guinness's share price had the highest increase ahead of 20 other gainers, while its rival, Champion Breweries, was the top loser among 23 laggards. Jais Bank, FCMB and FBN Holdings were the major contributors to more than 328.65 million units of shares sold in 4,983 transactions. And those are the day's trading figures. I'm Emana Amawe.
Major African markets ended Wednesday mostly in the red, save for Kenya, which is still divided after the elections. Other leading world markets are still looking down as investors are weary of tensions between the United States and North Korea. That's Business News. I'm Melinda Akinlami.
You first. First Bank.
Still ahead on the news at 10. Nigeria Basketball Federation names US-based Nigerian Alex Nwora as the head coach of the Tigers for next month's AfroBasket Championships in Senegal and Tunisia. That's on Sports News. Join us again.